What is going on, everybody? Welcome back to the YouTube channel. My name is Nick from Australia, and welcome to episode 6 of the Cowboys TV podcast. Hope everyone's doing very well. As always, joined by Callan. How are you, Callan?
Yeah, good, mate. Excited for big turnaround this week, mate. How are you going?
I'm good. I'm obviously in a bit of a different mood this week because, well, the rivalry Friday night, the big one against the Broncos, that's going to be a really big game, obviously. I will be there, of course. There will be a vlog, and it's going to be a fun time. Hopefully, our first win of the season comes against the Broncos scum or the Bronchokes, whatever you want to call them. They got 100 nicknames, but yeah, we need to win this one for sure, don't we?
Yeah, mate. Big time.
We need to win this. This is a huge game. It's the one game that's marked on the calendar every year where it's like Broncos, Cowboys must beat the Broncos. It's literally marked in the calendar. So the must-win game. It's an important game. It's the rivalry. We have a lot of history with the Broncos. Obviously, we don't like them. It's a big rivalry. Goes back a fair way. I don't think the rivalry really started till probably 2004 when we played them in the finals up there in Townsville and we beat them 10-0. So obviously we came in 95, but I don't think the rivalry really started till 2004. But
They give us their home game too that year.
yeah, and they probably shouldn't have.
No, in hindsight, I reckon they wish they probably didn't.
If that happened in today's game, the media would have a field day with it all. They really would.
Fucking oath.
They'd go berserk over it, to be honest. Yeah, so episode 6 of the Cowboys TV podcast. It's been good. Every episode's been very enjoyable. It's been really, really enjoyable. Hello to the live chat, everyone that's watching. I hope you guys are good. We've got the moderator in the chat there, CJ Moxley. We got Jason Reader. We got Jason Reader all the way from New Zealand. Daniel Bate all the way from the UK. Martin also from the UK. We got Josh, who I think is somewhere outside of Sydney, I believe. Cooper as well. I believe he's from Newcastle or Sydney, somewhere down that way. And Rishi, Will's from Brisbane, I think. Will Pearson, if you're watching still, let me know if you're going to the game Friday night. I know you'd like to attend a few games up there. Let me know if you're heading up Friday night. Hello to Sharon. Everyone that's in the chat. Oh, yeah, round up past Newcastle. Very good. Very good. I know we've started the year off slow, Callan. Obviously, 0-2, not an ideal start, but what have you made of the first 2 rounds?
Well, to be very blunt, very, very disappointing. I know there's a lot of chat around the coach and that, but I just think the effort of the players has been, terrible defence, very lackluster in attack. We feel like a ship without a rudder.
Yeah, we'll get to the coach stuff in a little bit, but obviously me and you were both at the game on Saturday. I flew all the way up there for the game. Long travel for myself. Obviously not the result that either of us wanted to see. I know you drove 4 hours to get there. I drove 2.5 hours, and then I flew 2 hours. So about a 5-hour day, really. So I was knackered by the time I got up there. But let's talk about the game. We'll get into it. Cronulla on the weekend, obviously one of our rivals, wasn't ideal. Just wasn't a great game. But what happened against Cronulla, man? Like, I'll be honest with you, Callan. I thought we handled the ruck pretty well. Like, I don't think our middle was terrible. I think everyone worked really hard in the middle of the field. Like, I wouldn't say the Sharks dominated our forward pack by any means, but it was the edges, the left and the right, both edges got destroyed, and that's where the Sharks scored pretty much all their points. But yeah, what'd you make of that game against the Sharks on the weekend?
Yeah, well, I was just watching something that Billy Slater was saying about us, and like you say, all the tries come on the edges,
Yeah.
combinations that have never really been together for any length of time. You know, dropping Nanai wasn't. You know, I was very against that.
That
It
was a
didn't
mistake.
change one thing. Not saying that would have been a different result with him there, but you know, it didn't change anything. So, you know, I don't know whether it's the trust, but we're not moving as one. You know,
No.
Billy Slater said, you know, if you're going to jam, if you're going to slide, you've all got to do it as one. You know, and that's definitely not the case. You know, the attack, we were like the lines were running into each other. It just seemed like, you know, schoolboy football.
Yeah, it wasn't good. It was pretty disappointing. Like, we played well for a long period of that game. Like, I don't think we were horrible. I mean, I reckon first half we were definitely in the game. Like, we really were. And then obviously they got us on the edges a couple times, which led to tries. But I think the turning point, I think there was 2 turning points. Murray Talangi's no try before half time with about 2 or 3 minutes of half time, where we all thought he scored, but his foot, I think his hand was out or his foot was out.
Yeah, foot on the line.
Yeah, that he was in the touch. Obviously, if he had scored that, it would have only been 16-10 or 16-12 Cronulla at half time. So you fancy your chances at that point. Still game on, anyone's game. That obviously didn't happen. And then the Jackson Purdue sin bin, who was it on? Stone Street, I believe, where he made a break down the sideline and Purdue caught him. And Purdue went to the bin. Now, the Cowboys held their own for 10 minutes. The Sharks didn't score any points while it was 13-12. But the amount of energy and stamina that it took out of the boys, it absolutely fatigued the hell out of them. And then when they got back to 13-13, I think the Sharks literally scored the next set. And then it was, 22-6. And everyone was knackered by then. And at that point, you're playing catch-up footy and you're hoping for mistakes to happen for the opposition. And it just didn't happen. And the Sharks ran away with it in the end. And that's what the good teams will do. Like, I'm not making excuses, but we played Manly round 1, and we saw how good of a team they were in the first game. And the Sharks are a legit side. I reckon they're better than Manly. They're a serious team, the Sharks. And they absolutely gave it to us. So we got to find ourselves, I think. Obviously, we'll get to the team list in a minute. I think Todd's made 4 changes from the team, which is, I think, were the right changes. But the Sharks game was one to forget, wasn't it?
Yeah, absolutely. And, you know, like they did score a few long distance tries, but whenever we had them camped on our try line, it didn't take long at all.
No, it didn't take much. I will say, though, I think our middle forwards did pretty well. I think they did all right. Like, Vanilla Blake, I think I said it last week, I was terrified he might get 180 meters, 200 run meters. I think he only had about 140. So he didn't have as many as I thought he would. I think we contained him pretty well, but the edges were shot. That was shocking all night. So we got to fix that up, man. But yeah, look, there was 18,000 there for the first home game. Pretty good crowd. There were a lot of fans leaving before the game, which I wasn't happy about. But when you're getting flogged at home, what can you do?
Yeah, that is pretty standard. But like even
Yeah,
when we win, there's a big percent. I even noticed it at the Manly home game. The amount of players try and beat the traffic, whatever it
yeah,
is. I'm an 80-minute person, win, lose, or draw. I stay there for the 80 minutes. I just, I got to, like yourself, there's a lot of effort for me to get to game. So
yeah.
win, lose, or draw, I just doesn't make any sense to me. And I'd feel like a real dill driving down the road and they come back and won, and I'd just be like, geez, I wish I was there for that.
There's okay. I've got one rule. I will only leave early if we concede 50. That's my rule. That's my rule. I believe if you go to a game and you concede 50, that shows me and tells me that the players aren't putting in the effort. They don't care about the jersey. For me, it's disrespectful. So that's my rule. If you concede 50, I'm going home. That's it. That's it for me. You let 50 in, I'm going home. If if you lose 36-6, I'll stay to the end, whatever. But you let 50 in, I'm out. Like that's my rule. I don't know if you're the same, but
Nah,
that's
I'm there.
my rule.
I've never left. The only game I ever left early was that trial in Cairns.
Yeah.
And like it wasn't the Cowboys. It was
Yeah, right.
a reserve grade side. It was a trial,
I just
and
feel like if you concede 50, it's disrespectful to the fan, disrespectful to the member that's in the crowd. And I feel like if you concede 50, it shows you don't really give a shit and lack of effort and lack of everything. So that's my rule. But that's just me. Everyone's got their own rule, I guess, when it comes to games. But yeah, we'll move on from the Sharks game because I don't want to talk about it anymore. Team list reaction. So Todd Payton has made changes that we have called for. You have been on the case of Jay Clifford, and he's in. Tamalolo is back. Jeremiah Nanai is back. A forced change, obviously, with Braden Burns doing his hamstring. He'll miss 3 to 4 games. A great opportunity for Robert Derby. Really good opportunity for him now to come in and play some good footy and try and keep that spot. So he's coming in this weekend, which is very exciting. And Kai O'Donnell kept his spot in the back row. Obviously, Nanai coming off the bench. What do you make of the team for Friday night against the Broncos? Personally, I think it's the best one Todd's named all year, and I think it's the strongest we've looked all year.
yeah, I'm pretty happy with the changes. Only thing I probably would have O'Donnell on the bench, and I'd start Nanai.
That's probably the only thing I'd do as well. Yeah. I'd probably
So
do the
yeah,
same.
I'm looking forward. There's not going to be, like everyone wants to, blame the coach. To me, he's picked the right side. So now it's up to the players.
Yeah. Yeah. Well, I think it's a really strong team that he's named this week. I really, really like the bench. I love the bench that is named. Sam McIntyre, Jeremiah Nanai, Griffin Neame, Cohen Hess. Cohen Hess has been outstanding in the first 2 games. He was probably one of our best players last week against Cronulla. And I think you were saying last week you'd start Hess, and I think I'm pretty close to agreeing with that as well. Only problem is I don't know how Jordan McLean would go coming off the bench. I feel like he's more of a starter than a bench player. I don't know, but I really like the team. I think they've done well with it. Kai O'Donnell probably got picked to start back row just because of his effort areas last week. He looks really strong out there in the back row. So maybe they're looking for a bit of impact. Maybe Jeremiah will come on, play on the left, and O'Donnell might play some time in the middle. Like that could be a possibility.
Yeah, well, that's what I'd do.
Yeah, I think
And
so
then,
as well.
and then I'd be, whatever the part of the game when Nenai comes on, I'd leave. I'd leave Nenai on for the rest of the game.
Yeah.
And, if O'Donnell needs a break, then be changing, accordingly.
Now, with the back line, obviously, Robert Derby coming in for the injured Braden Burns. There was talk of Sammy Valame. There was talk of Zach Labour. There was talk of Jackson Polo. There was talk of maybe putting Viliami Vialia onto the wing with Zach Labour into the centres. Are you comfortable with Robert Derby on the wing?
Well, I'm excited about his ability to score tries.
Yeah.
He had a lot of errors, but early days, he's only young. We're happy to give like certain blokes, X amount of time, so. Like if he doesn't play well this weekend, I wouldn't be sacking him on the first bad game,
Yeah.
But like confidence seeps from everybody else, and obviously we've got a problem with the edges, so it's all about the trust inside your inside man, that cohesion, and we're never going to have cohesion if we keep changing the team every week.
Yeah, 100%. I think my biggest concern with Robert Derby, obviously, it's going to be defense. Like that's going to be the one part of his game where he's going to have to be good because everyone else has struggled in defense to start the season. I believe he's only played one NRL game, and that was against Parramatta. I was actually at that game in 2023, and he played well in that game. He really did. So. Obviously, he's from Cairns, Robert Derby. Cairns Brothers is his junior club. He's from Port Moresby. He's 23 years old. I'm excited for Robert Derby. I hope he goes well. He's up against Jesse Arthurs, who's actually been scoring a lot of tries in the first 2 rounds. So he'll have his work cut out for him, that is for sure. But I mean, look, obviously, we're not the coach. We're just giving our opinion on what we would have done if we were in charge. But I think the safer option would have been Sammy Valame because he's been there and done the job before. But I'm glad Todd isn't afraid to bring in a young prospect like Robert Derby. So I hope he goes well on the weekend. I really do.
Yeah, well, like I said, he's certainly got the ability.
Definitely.
It's just,
and he's got speed. He's quick.
Yeah, and we lack people to go with drink water, whatever. If you can, you can get that ball out. Which we were the kings of attack. We were right up there with the best of them last year. So
top 4 in attack last year.
Yeah.
This year would be probably bottom 4 with attack. But look, I'm excited for Robert Derby. I really am. I think he'll go well Friday night and he'll be told to just do his job. That's literally all he'll be told. And I guess the other thing we should note about is Jake Clifford coming in for young Thomas Duffy. Now, I do feel a little bit sorry for Thomas Duffy, but I think it's the right decision. And the reason I say I think it's the right decision is because Duffy had 2 games, and I know we didn't go well in either game, but If you go and watch it, Duffy's kicks, a lot of those bombs were just too deep. Not much of a contest, and the way he was playing just wasn't really suiting our style with the likes of Dearden, Drinkwater, Robson. Clifford comes in. Clifford was there from round 24 last year to the final series. We won every game with Clifford except for the game where we got eliminated by the Sharks in the semis. Clifford has good combinations with Dearden, Drinkwater, Robson. He knows them all very well. He knows them inside out. The only reason I think Clifford missed round one was because he was still recovering from his hernia. And the reason he didn't play round two is I think Todd wanted him to play one game of Queensland Cup so he could get some match fitness up. And he played well. He scored a try in Queensland Cup on the weekend, and he played pretty well. I know he had about 5 or 6 errors, but from what I understand, it was absolutely pouring deluxe in Cairns on Saturday from what I've read online. So errors are going to happen in those conditions. But you know what you're going to get with Jake Clifford. Defensively, he's a lot stronger. His kicking game's a lot better. He runs the ball. Those torpedo bombs he does are very good. I know you're a big Jake Clifford fan, Callan, but I think it's the right decision. As much as I like Tom Duffy, I think it's the right decision.
Well, my argument was, any other bloke in that team, Dearden, Drinky, Nanai before he plays the game. If any of them were injured last year and couldn't play rounds 1 and 2, they're in as soon as they're fit.
Yeah.
My big argument was, and then I just feel like Clifford has got, not given the opportunities when, I feel like he was a shining light. I said it on the Facebook or whatever it was, Instagram.
Yeah.
Every game he played, we were underdone. He beat the Roosters, he beat the Panthers, and then and then some woman that was arguing with me reckons that he was leading the error in the Pride. So
who cares?
I haven't done any research there, and it'd make me laugh why Todd would pick a error-ridden player.
Yeah,
and
exactly
when Clifford left the Pride, they were on top of the ladder nearly the whole year. So for an error-riddled player leaves their team, well, you think you should play better if an error-ridden player leaves your side. But they bowed out pretty quick in the semis for the Q Cup.
Yeah, no good. No good. Just some stats I want to go over for the weekend because obviously Jeremiah Nanai and Tamalolo both played Queensland Cup on the weekend. So Jeremiah Nanai played the whole game. He had 10 runs for 106 metres. He gave away 1 penalty. He made 27 out of 31 tackles, so he missed 4 tackles, which is more than what he did at Manly, so a bit weird there. And he had 1 tackle break as well. And for Tamalolo, if I can find it, Tamalolo played 55 minutes and ran for over 100 metres. So they all, they both played well in Queensland Cup over the weekend. But yeah, it's going to be interesting to see how they both fit in and how they both go Friday night against the Broncos.
Yeah, well, I don't think you said it's a must win. Like, obviously, I want to win every game. But if we lose by a couple of points, I can handle that.
Against the Broncos, no. Against the Broncos, no way.
Well, I need to see progress. Like I said, mate, I want to win every fucking game. Don't get me wrong, but I can't handle losing by 30 a game.
No, I can't either. But
there's got to be some big. If we compete and it's because they are tight games and like the terrible start we've had.
Yeah.
If like we need to be a side that's improving.
Yeah, well, the Broncos game, I think it's going to be a different mindset. I think it's going to be a completely different mentality. because when it comes to Broncos Cowboys games, form doesn't mean shit. Like, I don't believe it does. You go back to last year, we were coming off a high against the Tigers at Leichhardt, I think it was, and then we had the whole do it for Kyle Webb. We had that special jersey that was created, and all of the Cowboys greats were there up in Townsville. And we led 18-6. And then the Broncos absolutely put a score on us. I think it was 40-18. And it was one of the most embarrassing games I've ever seen as a Cowboy supporter. So form doesn't really matter, I believe, going into this. I also remember in 2022, we played the Broncos on a Sunday afternoon at Brisbane, and we were paying about $3 to win, and we ended up winning like 38-12. So form doesn't really matter when it comes to the Broncos, but this is a game that we have to win on Friday night. It's one that we need to win. And if we lose by a couple, if we lose a close game, then it'll show the improvement, I suppose. But I'll be really pissed off because we can't lose to this team. We have to beat the Broncos. We have to beat them.
Yeah, well, like I said, yes, I want to beat the Broncos probably more than most teams, but I equally want to win every game, mate. You know, I don't
100%.
give a fuck. I don't give a fuck who we play.
Yeah,
I want to win every game.
that's right.
You know, and for a team that just is not competing with the stars that we got, you know, it's heartbreaking.
Well, we need to get off to a better start. Like we need a fast start Friday night. We haven't done that all year. Every game we started slow, so hopefully Friday night we come out all guns blazing.
Well,
now I want to talk about this in a second. Yep, go on. What were you going to say?
Just that all the team commenting how much confidence they get out of having Tamalolo playing with them.
Yeah, it's going to be a big difference. The last thing I want to say quickly before we get to Clifford or Duffy, I feel really sorry for Harrison Edwards. He was one of the only ones, I think, the first 2 rounds that's actually put in effort and played really well. I don't think he deserved to be dropped to 18th man. It's good that he's still in the squad, and he still might play Friday night if we get a couple of HIAs and whatnot. But if there's one player that I think was hard done by with all the changes, I think it was Harrison Edwards. I think he ran for 80 meters off the bench in both games, and he played about 45 minutes in both of them. So Harrison Edwards, for me, didn't deserve to get dropped to 18th man. There is one player that I think, if I was to keep Harrison Edwards, you obviously got to find someone to make way. I would have dropped Griffin Name. But that's just me. That's just my view. But what's your take on that?
Yeah, I wouldn't drop Griffin, but,
No?
you know, it's like McKaylee. I'd like to have him in the team. But like someone mentioned, you know, he's got to be in the side, and I don't know if it was you that said, who would you drop?
Yeah, that's what I said. I think.
And like, I don't know. You know, like, I'd like to have Harrison Edwards in the team too, but
yeah,
you know, we can only have 17 players in the team.
That's the thing. Like, who do you drop? Because like Hess is playing good. You're not going to drop Cotter. Tamalolo's back. You're not going to drop him. McIntyre's been a workhorse. Not going to drop him either. Yeah, it's tough. It's a tough business sometimes. But Clifford or Duffy? Like, obviously, we got a bit of a situation here. Well, obviously Duffy was halfback for the first 2 games, and Clifford was our halfback at the end of last year, going into the finals, and we played well with Clifford. Duffy obviously started the year off 2 games, and then obviously got dropped due to form, I suppose. But what do you reckon? Obviously, I know you're probably going to say Jake Clifford, but do you feel sorry for Duffy?
Oh, 100%. You know, like, you know, I'm not a hater. I've got my favourites, but
Yeah,
I certainly don't. Like I said, you can only have 17 blokes. Who do you drop?
yeah, exactly.
I was talking to a mate. I introduced you to that couple at the game,
Yeah, yeah, yeah.
and he was saying that Duffy was threatening to go somewhere else, and like I don't know if that's true, but
Oh, jeez.
like it's hard, because like I wanted to be 2-0, so that means it's going to be hard to drop Duffy because he's playing well and we won the 2 games. That's my wish.
Yeah,
So it's obviously I favour Clifford, but at the same time, like I went and met Duffy's parents at the Manly game.
yeah, that's good.
Congratulated them, and I was spewing I didn't get a photo with them. Sometimes I'm a bit excited in the moment, and I'm not always out with my
Yeah.
phone capturing everything, because I'm just enjoying the experience. But there was a bunch of them. They all had the Duffy shirts on. I really felt sorry for them guys. You watching your son come through, and you
Well, you're
know,
right. I mean, it's
I'm,
like it's like on the weekend there. I was at the Cowboys Lease Club after the game, and I was talking to one of the players. Not going to say who, and we had a great conversation. I forgot to get a photo with him. Completely forgot about it. I was too busy in the moment talking, and I'm not going to say who it was, but yeah, it was great. All right, so for me, I'd probably go Clifford for now. Just, obviously he's been there and done it. He can probably get us a few wins with his kicking game and whatnot. So Clifford for now, but if we get to round 8, round 9, and it's still the same problem, maybe we do go with Duffy again, but we'll have to wait and see how that goes. Now
well,
let's get to some news that everyone on social media keeps talking about. Should Coach Payton be moved on? A lot of people are talking about it on social media. The media from Sydney have already started this agenda about Payton and everything else. I've seen the articles today and yesterday, and obviously on the weekend. What do you do? Like, obviously his record is up and down. So, 2021 comes in. We had a pretty shit year. I think we were expecting a pretty shit year in 2021. 2022, we finished top 4 out of nowhere. Everyone thought would be down the bottom. So one bad year, one good year. 23, we were expected to be top 4. We ended up missing the 8 by losing the last game to Penrith. And then obviously last year we finished 5th and made it to the second round of the final. So he's had 2 good years and 2 bad years. Well, obviously one really bad year, 1 year where we missed the 8 by obviously 1 game. But I am interested to hear your thoughts on this one, Callan.
well, again, I don't want Payton to be sacked because I want us to be winning. So if we're winning, obviously no one wants to sack Payton. But the thing is, it was like towards the end of Green's tenure. I was against sacking him. And there's something about footballers when they're not happy with, the coach, they just don't perform. So my argument is if Payton continues to not get the best out of our players, get the best out of bloke. I've talked a lot about this with you all fair about getting the best out of Tamalalo. And I don't believe he's achieved that. So to me, we're a results-driven industry, and at the end of the day, if he can't, because this is the opportunity for him to prove to the world that he is the man for the job by, like I say this a lot, in life, we all make mistakes. We learn by mistakes and we change things accordingly. Sometimes I just think he doesn't change things accordingly, So whether he's just too pig-headed, he won't admit he's, doing something wrong. I don't know, Are the footballers crybabies and, just don't like him? I don't know, But I would like our team to get their shit together, get their heads out of their asses, and, prove to us, the guys like you and I, that we travel so far to watch these, our boys play.
Yeah.
So I wish Todd Payton the best. I hope that we turn it. And I was saying to the guys at work today, just started back in the construction site. So a lot of guys got the cowboy helmet back on and, back wearing shorts. So I got me tattoo exposed and, a lot of banter. And I said, same thing. The bloke said to me, should we sack Payton? I said, mate, we're going to turn it around. That's what I believe. So I don't want to sack Todd Payton because I believe we're going to turn it around. And, I believe I belong. So, I'm expecting a big turnaround this week.
I'll give you my opinion on this entire Todd Payton situation where everyone thinks we should sack him. So, obviously, we lost a lot of players at the end of 2024, going into a new year. Obviously, premiership window, I believe, is still open, but it's closing quickly if we don't turn this bad form slump around. When it comes to Todd Payton, here's the thing. Last year we came fifth. We had a great season. Made it to the second week of the finals. Obviously would have liked to have gotten a bit further, but that's what happened. I think right now, if you're not going to support the club and the players through two bad games, then don't even come and support the boys when they're going great and they're winning 3 or 4 games in a row and looking like a really good team once again. Like, I said this on my review the other night when I was coming back from Brisbane. If you're not going to support the boys during the tough period, don't even come and kiss our ass when we're looking good and looking like a top 8 side, because Payton's had a tough start and it's not all his fault. He's not the one out there making the tackles, missing tackles, making the errors, letting the tries in. Obviously, his defensive structures need a bit of fixing and the edges need to be fixed up. There's no denying that. But if you're not going to be there and support the boys for a couple of tough games, then I don't want to see the fake fans when we're doing well. Like, that's the one thing that shits me off about a lot of our fans is they'll go on Facebook, they'll get behind their mobile phone, or they'll get on their computer and they'll brag the coach and they'll bag the players and they'll talk all this rubbish. But then when they win 3 or 4 games in a row, they'll be like, oh, yeah, I'll support the boys forever. I always cheer them on. No. Get off your fucking computer and your mobile phone and actually go support the boys. Go to the game on Friday night. If you're in Brisbane or if you're in the Gold Coast area or if you're in Queensland and you can get to Brisbane Friday night. Cheer on the boys. I know form hasn't been great, but this is where the true supporters will show their true colours. Get to the game Friday night. Cheer them on. The one thing I'm very happy about is all 3 away bays have sold out. Bay 318, 317, and 316. Those 3 bays are going to be for Cowboys members and fans. They have all sold out. So I am very pleased about that. But to all the other fans that are contemplating whether to go to the game because they're scared about losing, get there and cheer on your team. Get there and cheer on your team. As in terms of, should I sack the coach? Fuck no. Sacking the coach isn't going to change the results. There's obviously things in place of structure and game plans. Sacking the coach isn't going to change the result. I don't believe it will. And I think if you sack the coach now, you can put a red pen through the season, because how many interim coaches get teams to the top 8 after sacking the original coach midway through the year? Doesn't happen very often. It's hard.
No, I don't
it's
think
very hard to do.
I don't think it's ever really turned around.
I think it happened during COVID. I think the Sharks, I think they sacked Josh Hannay midway through the season. And they ended up coming 8th, I think, or 7th. They stuck into the finals, I think. But it's rare. It rarely happens. It really does. But I think you got to support the coach. You got to support the team and get on with it. 3 games ago, we were playing the Sharks in a semi-final. Sucking the coach, all this talk is absolute garbage. Garbage. There was always going to be an adjusting period this year with who we lost. Val, Felt, Chad, Cooley Finifuliaki, Jake Granville. We lost Hillam Lukey to an ACL in December. We lost Tom Chester to an ACL, another one of our outside backs. It was always going to be a challenging start to the year. So all it's going to take, Callan, and I think I said this to you on Saturday night after the game, all it's going to take is one win, and the confidence and the belief will be there. All it's going to take. We win one, we might win 3 or 4 in a row.
Yeah, big time.
Yeah, so I just wanted to get a bit of a rant out there because I've had enough on going on social media and reading, suck Todd, suck this player, put him on the bench, put him in reserve grade. Shut up. Let's just fucking support the boys and let's get the season going. That's all it is.
Like you said, and I said to you, I bet you we get 17,000 plus at the game, because there's the true fans, mate. We travel from Mackay, further, Cairns further, up the Cape, west. We come far and wide. The few guys you were talking to, Bow Desert, there was a guy south of Mackay.
Bow Desert, Tim and Carmen. Yep. Shout out to actually. I want to give a shout out to Tim and Carmen. Very good people. I will see them Friday, I believe, at the game.
They're the true fans, not these keyboard warriors. The true fans are the ones that rock up to the game. Everyone's entitled to your opinion. I can't stop you doing that. But if you, like Nick said, if you're not going to turn up, I don't really think you deserve to, be this, I never doubted you,
Yeah.
Where you and me, we'll just keep turning up, because
that's right. That's all you can do.
That's we bleed blue, grey, and yellow, and a little bit.
Mate, we could be 0-15, and I'm still going to show up to a game in Sydney. Like I'm still going to be there.
Yeah, well, I book all mine last year, so form does got nothing to do with the distances I travel.
I mean, true fans like yourself, like you're saying, I come from Cairns, Mackay, Tim and Carmen all the way from Bow Desert. You got myself coming up from fucking Northern Rivers, for crying out loud. You got fans traveling 6 hours every week just to get to the game. Like, they're the true supporters, the ones that are traveling every week, getting to the games. It's great stuff. All right, let's move on. Let's get on Jason Taumalolo. Obviously, he returns on Friday night, which is a big in for us. We need Taumalolo. It's a really big inclusion. What are you expecting from Taumalolo on Friday night? What's your expectations of Taumalolo?
Big meters. I think the impact, because he's the leader. He's our spiritual leader. He's not a big talker. He's a big doer, a bit like Matt Scott. Matt Scott wasn't a man of words. He was a man of action. And then I think, he gets on there, he leads, and we follow, And I just think that confidence that ripples through that team, knowing we got big Jason there and who's going to, put his Tongan underwear on
Hope he does on Friday.
And I'm expecting, like old Jason knocking people over and making 100+ meters.
I want to see Tamalolo Friday night just absolutely get the ball, run as hard as possible, run over Payne Haas, Patrick Carrigan, all these guys that he'll be up against Friday night. Just run at them, take them on, and win the battle. Win the battle against the Broncos. Win the battle. I think obviously he played 55 minutes in Queensland Cup. I reckon he'll play probably around the same in this game, probably between 45 to 50 minutes. I reckon he'll play around that. Hopefully he does. I'll tell you this. If he plays 25 minutes and gets taken off, doesn't come back on, that'll be frustrating.
Yeah.
We've seen that happen before. I hope it doesn't happen Friday night. Let Tamalolo play 40-odd minutes. Let him go berserk.
Yeah, bloody oath.
Let him go nuts, and we'll see the best of him. Hopefully he goes well Friday night. All right. Let's do some tips for round 3, and then obviously we'll give our predictions for the Broncos-Cowboys game, and we'll get to a couple of fan questions. So round 3, we'll just go through this quickly. Tomorrow night, Callan, grand final rematch. Melbourne Storm taking on the Penrith Panthers down there in Melbourne. Who do you think wins that one?
Storm.
I'm going to go Panthers. I don't think they'll lose 2 in a row. I'll go Panthers in that one. Friday night, 6 o'clock from New Zealand, over there in Auckland. Warriors and the Roosters.
Ooh.
That's a tough one.
I'll
go the Warriors.
Yeah, I'm going to go to Warriors too.
If it was in Sydney, I'd probably go Roosters, but I think over there, I'll go New Zealand. We'll do the Cowboys one very soon. Saturday, 3 o'clock, Sharks and Rabbitohs from Cronulla.
Sharks.
Yeah, Sharks for me. Saturday, 5:30 up at Redcliffe, so KO Stadium in Redcliffe. Dolphins and the Tigers.
Dolphins
only because it's in Redcliffe, and they haven't won a game yet, but honestly, who knows on that game? Dolphins for me. Saturday night, Gold Coast Titans and Newcastle Knights from the Gold Coast.
I'd like to say Titans, but I think the Knights will probably win.
I'm going to go the Titans at home. I think they'll win on the Gold Coast. Sunday, 4 o'clock, Parramatta versus Canterbury from CommBank Stadium.
Who's playing?
Eels, Bulldogs.
Bulldogs.
Yeah, you got to go Bulldogs. Eels are looking terrible at the moment. And then Sunday night, Manly versus Raiders in Brookvale over in Sydney. Tom Trbojevic expected to be ruled out.
Canberra.
Oh, I'll go Manly, only because it's at home, but who the hell knows? All right. Well, let's get some predictions for the Broncos-Cowboys game Friday night up at Suncorp. Obviously, I'll be there. Callan won't be there, obviously. He's not going to be able to get up there for it, but that's all right. What's your score prediction and first try score prediction for this one Friday night?
I think very close one. I think it's going to be, might even be Golden Point.
Don't do that to 30, me in the stadium.
33-32 to the Cowboys.
Oh,
first
wow.
Try scorer, Nanai.
Off the bench?
Yep.
Oh, okay. I like it.
I've got a sneaking suspicion he might start.
Well, if he doesn't start, who would you pick?
I'll go O'Donnell.
All right, I'll go. I backed him last week. He didn't score. He didn't score first. I'll go Tom Dearden. He hates the Broncos. Let's be honest. The Broncos and Tom Dearden. We know how that situation unfolded. I'll go Dearden to score the first try. Cowboys by... You know what? Cowboys by 7. I reckon there'll be a late field goal from Clifford to seal the deal. I'll go something like 29-22. I think maybe we'll be up by 6, 28-22. We'll be leading. There'll be about 4 or 5 minutes to go. We'll be 25 out. Clifford and Drinkwater will be in position. Clifford will get it, strikes it, field goal. That seals it. We win by 7. I'll go with that.
That would be better.
That would be nice than a bloody golden point game. Oh, shit. All right, we'll quickly get to some fan questions. We'll answer 2 of them, and then we're going to get on out of here. And we'll get on out of here for the night. Where are we? Fan questions. Let's get to them. There is a couple of them, and the first fan question comes from a loyal Cowboys fan that I met in Canberra last year, actually, on Instagram. AJ_the_tank_engine. Very, very long name to get there. He wants to know, is dropping Tom Duffy a long-term mistake for a minimal short-term gain?
No, I don't. Like I've said, I've been singing this praise. Clifford should be there. You know, Clifford needs to fuck up to lose his spot. That's my opinion.
I think you're right. I think Duffy, again, I think he is a long-term halfback. Obviously didn't show it the first 2 games, but I think 2027, 2026, that could be Tom Duffy's time. That could be him right there. But at this current stage, no. I think Clifford deserves it.
And this is another thing that pisses me off. You know, I'm not trying to have a go at you, mate, but it just seems like everyone wants Clifford to fail. You know, like I said in the beginning, I don't want Duffy to fail because that means we lose. Yeah. You know, so get behind our squad, mate, you know.
I think a lot of people were expecting and waiting for Clifford to fail when he came in last year when we made the finals, but he never really did. He held his own and played well. So, yeah. And the last question is from obviously a good follower and a good supporter of the channel, Jack Wovers. Jack says, do you reckon the Cowboys should sign a good prop? Well, McLean's coming to the end, isn't he? So we probably could use someone like a new front rower soon. Obviously, with the whole salary cap thing, it's hard to just throw names out there. But you know who I would target, Callum? I would target Mo Fodawaker from the Titans. He's a really, really big mobile front rower, and he's played for Queensland. He's got a good engine about him. If I were to look for a front rower, I'd go look for him, Mo Fodawaker.
Yeah, I agree with you. And yes, to answer the question, I think, and I've been saying this for a long time, we've never, you know, a bloke like Matt Scott.
Yeah.
You know, he was just, you know, he played for Queensland, he played for Australia. He was just, you know, he led from his actions and he never had a bad game, you know. And I think we're missing that style of just that hard, gritty, every week, you know, what you're going to get with him. You know, if we can get someone along that caliber,
yeah,
you know, and I think if there is someone out there, we need to throw money at him to get him over. You know, someone said in the chat, you know, like, he'd be happy to lose for 2 years to watch young blokes come through. Well,
yeah.
No, I can't go with that, mate.
No, I can't either. Well, I'll tell you this. I'm not sure if he'll debut this year, but I really hope he does. We've got this young front rower in the top 30. He's in the squad. He's in the system. I think he's playing Queensland Cup at the moment. He's 19 years old. There's this young footballer named Caden Lars. He's actually Tom Leroy Lars' son, if you remember. Big Tom Leroy Lars used to play for Queensland. I think he played for Canberra. And he was a very good player, Tom Leroy Lars. His son, Caden Lars, is a young 19-year-old prop. He's 190 centimeters, 104 kilo. Really good young prop coming through the system. He could be one to really come on the scene in the near future. So he's one to watch.
Yeah, that'd be exciting. Sounds like a big boy.
Yeah, he's a big boy. I just got a photo of him here. He's 190 centimeters, 104 kilos, age 19. He's a big boy. So hopefully he gets an opportunity at some point. He was born in Canberra, but he's playing with us at the moment up there in, I believe he's in one of the Queensland Cup sides. I'm not sure if he's in the Cutters or he's in the other mob, but who's the other mob? The Pride. So I'm not exactly sure who he's playing for there, but he's up there at the moment and he's in the system. So keep an eye on him. But
this would be a good fan question. Who are the Black Hawks a feeder club for?
Souths.
Are they?
Yeah.
Shit.
Souths come up about 2 years ago, I believe, and they took the Townsville Blackhawks because we had 3 feeder clubs, and then I think the Cowboys were saying that no, we got too many, so we've got to cut one of them off. And then I think Souths were interested, and they took the Blackhawks, and yeah, Souths are using the Blackhawks, and we've got the Mackay Cutters and then the Northern Pride.
That's ridiculous.
It's crazy. It's a long situation. If you have a look, if you look up a bit on Google and you look up on it, it's pretty insane. But yeah, anyway, we'll talk about that another time. Callan, thank you very much for a good show. It's been a great podcast tonight. 58 minutes, pretty much. So yeah, I've really enjoyed it, man. It's been a lot of fun.
Yeah. Thanks, mate. It's good doing this. Thanks for letting me be part of it. And like you said, get behind our team. Stop whinging.
Yeah, exactly right. Stop your whinging. Stop your bitching. Shut up. Support the boys, whether it be through the tough periods or the good periods. Always show up. I'll be there Friday night. If you're going to be at the game, come say hello. I'm going to be in the away bay. I'll be bringing the drum as well, so you can't miss me. To be honest, you pretty much can't miss me. I'll be there, loud as hell. Probably lose my voice.
Get behind Nick when he screams Cowboys.
Everyone,
the rest of yous have got to follow.
Get up, yeah. Anyway, bring on Friday night. Bring on Friday night. Bring on the derby. Thank you all for watching. Like and subscribe to the channel, and we will see you guys next week. Hopefully, celebrating a win over the Broncos or the Bronx scum. But anyway, have a good night, everybody.
No.
Go the Cowboys.